Hey everybody, welcome to the sixth and currently final episode of Let's Play the INNSMOUTH case. This has been a ride. This is an interesting concept for a game and I really enjoyed it. Overall, there are some problems with the game, specifically in translation in the written word, but it does really well conveying humor and darkness and all of that at once. It's a fairly good modern rendition of a Lovecraftian style story, and I have enjoyed it so far. I'll let everybody know via Discord and socials when we dive back into the game and when more content related to the game will be released. Thank you so much for viewing. Let's play. Hey everybody, Tabitha 6 back for more INNSMOUTH case shenanigans. This has been doing really well here on YouTube, so we're gonna make it a YouTube series from here on out instead of having it on stream. We have had quite a bit of interesting reactions in this game, and I'm interested to see what other choices we can make moving forward that would possibly change our outcome. So bear with me. Let's get to it, shall we? I hope everyone is doing well today that you're viewing this. Let's go. We're going to go to the Gilman Hotel and we're going to start there. So load game. You recognize its roof from afar, and after a long walk, it is now before you in full splendor. The Gilman Hotel. At least it's easy to see that it once must have been a gorgeous building. The hotel resembles an old English country estate, but in its present state. It would be suited as the setting for a very predictable film about teenagers and chainsaw killers. Wild and withered ivy has a firm grip on the walls and obscures the details of the richly decorated facade. A gallery of gargoyles melted into unreal shapes by acid rain and acidic pigeon droppings lines the roof. Well, that's vivid. The many window panes have been neglected for years. Only in a few places has a small area been wiped clean in order to see outside. There are two cars in the parking lot, a vintage car with large rust spots and a large gray van. The kind of van you've always been warned about as a child. Does it have candy spray painted on the side? Is there a man who has a fascination with cast iron pans inside of it? You look around again just to make sure that the people who own the cars aren't hiding somewhere with their shotgun at the ready. The coast is clear. First, you walk over to the antique car. Well, you're not a car expert, but the car looks antique to you anyway. Both seats inside are made of white leather. A bit tacky. You turn away from the antique car and look towards the van. No writing on the side, a regular registration plate, the windows and the front blacked out. Hang on. You have a brainwave. Maybe this is the van in which poor Tabitha had been pulled in when she was kidnapped? When she was lured to her awful fate by sweets and lollipops? That sounds honestly completely possible. Of course, it all makes sense. In all likelihood, you've just managed to find the actual kidnapper, the seed of all that is evil and wrong in this case. And all you had to do was book a hotel room and stare at cars. You're a natural. All you need is some proof. What's the plan, Stan? We're going to try to get into the boot. Of course, whatever it is that you're looking for must be in the back of the van. Excitingly, you walk around the van. Sadly, the door is not open. That would have been truly lucky. Full of optimism, you try the handle to see if the door has been left unlocked. There's noticeable resistance when you turn the handle. Damn. You won't get in it without the car key. You walk back to stand in front of the bonnet of the van. Fuck it. we're going to smash the window. A brilliant idea. Your brain is running at full speed while complimenting itself for its ingenuity. A good day indeed. What's the best way to smash in the window? We're going to go with a rock. Because I don't know if you've ever tried to smash a window with your elbow. It doesn't work like it does in the movies. Of course, you're going to use a rock. You're not completely stupid. You look around on the ground for a suitable stone. Found it. You lift up your tool and weigh it in your hands. Not too dirty. Good grip. Perfect. You look around the parking lot one last time to make sure you're by yourself. You aim and smash the stone right into the window. The window breaks and splinters. That was loud. Hopefully, no one will have heard that. You peek inside the driver's cabin. Ways you can tell this game was not made by a US studio. Words like bonnet, cabin. Suddenly, the smell of stale old grease creeps up your nostrils. On the floor of the passenger seat, there's a scrunched brown paper bag with the logo of a fast food chain. A paper cup rests in the dashboard. Where are the traces of kidnapped children? You get the feeling you're wasting your time and you don't want to be caught in a smashed up vehicle that doesn't belong to you. Luckily, the parking lot and the nearby street seem to be completely deserted. You've stayed in this parking lot long enough. You don't want anyone else to call the police on you. Maybe you should just go in and book your room. You really hope that the inside of a hotel has been looked after a little bit better than the outside, but you're quickly disabused of that notion. The massive wooden door is difficult to open. Shouldn't the staff be doing this anyway? With a large creaking sound from the hinges and an exhausted puffing and panting on your part, you manage to open the door and enter the lobby of the Gilman Hotel. You wonder if guests are even welcome in this place. The room is sparsely lit. There are impressive chandeliers hanging from the ceiling, which, if working, would perhaps not quite give the grand hall back its original splendor, but at least convey more warmth. Your first steps tell you that there are rotten floorboards hiding under the thick carpet. The green wall paneling and wallpaper also appear rotten and musty. Lovely. Sort of wet. Or moist, if you will. We're going to go to reception. Before you let yourself be distracted by the questionable interior design and the associated health issues, you walk purposefully towards the reception desk. A small, greenish creature stands behind the counter. The loudly humming ceiling lamp above harshly illuminates his silhouette and gives his face hard edges. You can make out every individual speck of dust and dandruff in his dark green velvet collar and crooked shoulders. Maybe they should be dimming the lights after all. Figure smiles at you, perhaps it's more of a grin. His face unsettles you. You lean forward at an angle to get a better look at him. The corners of his mouth reach all the way up to his dried up ears. Well, that's certainly a pleasant way to describe somebody. His smile looks like it's painted on. His beady eyes lie deep in the cavity of his skull and seem to stare into opposite directions. Has he even blinked yet? And on top of it all, he smells funny. May I help you? You're startled and take a step back. You just described him like he's a frog. Like a frog-goblin hybrid. What's wrong with you? Welcome to the Gilman Hotel. My name is Cornelius Gilman III. How may I be of service to you? The man's gaze remains unchanged and his unnatural smile still seems to be etched into his face. You're still surprised he can talk with that expression on his face. Just a moment ago, you have sworn he was an inanimate puppet. So it's a Muppet hotel? Is that what we're going with here? Just like now when he's not speaking. What's wrong with your face? You say with disarming honesty. If you're referring to my complexion, I suffer from a very rare congenital disease, which only people from my family as well as other people in town develop. You shrug your shoulders. Sure, why not? You're a dick. God. I would like to book a room. You begin and manage to blurt out, not to blurt out, in a different hotel. Perfect. The Gilman Hotel is delighted to be welcomed to you as a guest. May I ask whether you're in Innsmouth for business or pleasure? How long will you be staying with us? Would you prefer a view towards the beach or the skyline of our exciting town? When would you like to be woken up? Do you sleep deeply? Are you traveling alone? Do you have any family? Who knows you're here? Can I interest you in our spa, fitness, and wellness activities? Would you like to subscribe to your newsletter? What's your blood type? Is your liver swollen? Are you an alcoholic? Do you have a problem with brain mites? How long can you hold your breath? Check the box next to business. How long are you staying with us? As long as it takes. Favored view. We're going to go with the beach. We'd like to be woken up. 6 a.m. sharp. Do you sleep deeply? Odd question. Are you traveling by yourself? I'm always by myself. Maybe tonight I won't be by myself. Wink, wink. Why are we trying to romance the owner of the hotel? Do you have family? I have a goldfish named Al who knows you're here. Why are you asking me all of this? Can I interest you in our spa, fitness, and wellness activities? No, damn it. Would you like to subscribe to our newsletter? No. How long can you hold your breath? Funny story. I've been able to hold my breath. I'm able to breathe underwater. Are we done now? Can I go to my room? The concierge expression did not change a tiny bit for the duration of our conversation, let alone did he blink. Thank you very much. That's all I need to know. Now all you need to do is sign here. He tilts his strangely shaped head over to the guest register. Impatiently, you sign with John Doe, Noob Slayer 555, or your real name. Sadly, we're all booked up this season. There's only one spare room. Here's your key for room 666. Ooh. Ominous. Enjoy your stay. You look at the key which has magically appeared on the counter, then your eyes slowly wander past the man to the wall, where countless other keys are hanging. What now? Let's head to our room. You look at a golden pen with the layout of the different rooms on floors. Room 666. There it is. 4th floor, left wing of the building. You walk up the stairs to the upper floors, but you can feel the eyes of the concierge on you. Panting, you finally reach your floor. An almost endless corridor spreads out in front of you. Come play with us, Danny. Come play. At the other end, you see a figure who seems to be lost as you are. Didn't the building look much smaller from the outside? You walk down the corridor when you notice a figure approaching you. Your brain is mentally preparing itself for benign hotel small talk, but wait, it's you. You walk a bit further and realize you're standing in front of a mirror. That's why the corridor looks so vast. The mirror marks a fork. According to the room numbers, your room should be further on the left. In the corridor towards the right, you see a small yellow sign on the floor. Maintenance. Let's go check out what maintenance is being done. Well, you're here already. Might as well. You saunter to the other wing of the building. The corridor winds around several corners and leads you deep into the building. Just when you start to wonder what on earth you're doing here, you step onto something hard. The clicking sound makes you stop in your tracks. Clicking sound. Well then. You kneel down at the glinting thing on the floor. It's a set of keys. Several keys on a metal ring, including a hotel key with the exact same carved shape as yours. And a car key with a black plastic cap. I bet it's to the van. Someone must have dropped it. Examine examine the floor more closely. No wonder the keys hadn't been spotted before. The red and yellow pattern on the carpet was perfect camouflage. But the keys seemed to have been the only thing that were dropped here. At least you can't spot anything else. We're going to look for the room that goes with the key. On the key, there's a number engraved, 237. Conveniently, this is precisely the door in front of which you're standing. If only all your cases were that easy to solve. You can now return the key to the guests and have a good laugh about it all. Or, just in case they're not there, you might have a little look around the room. Let's knock on the door. In order to not blindside the guests, you decide to knock first. Either these old wooden doors are soundproof or there's no one in. Even after a second try, no one opens the door. We're going to go ahead and unlock it. Initiative is just one of your great qualities. You unlock the door. In your mind, you're still trying to come up with excuses in case someone is in the room, but only one glance at the state of the room is enough to dispel these worries. The room is completely dark, not because the shutters are drawn, but because all the windows are plastered with several layers of newspaper clippings. Did a paranoid FBI agent stay here? The smell of something that's been lying in the sun for too long creeps into your nostrils. We're going to enter the room. All this has intrigued you even more. We flip the light switch and shut the door behind you. 2 of the 3 ceiling lamps have burned out, the remaining bulb is flickering and doing its best. With each step you take, your shoe comes off the floor with a squelching sound. You don't even want to know what's sticking to the floor. What a mess. Dented cans lie scattered on the floor. The many pieces of paper scattered on the floor give the room the air of a snowy landscape. If only it didn't smell so disgustingly. Next to the bed, a pile of empty plastic boxes is piled up and swarms of flies, and a swarm of flies is buzzing around it. On the wall, one wall is paved in newspaper clippings, notes, and photos. Whoever lives here has spared no effort to create a complex web of places, names, and events. Colorful threads connect almost all the pinned notes with one another. Are you staring at a life's work of a conspiracy theorist? You stroll through the room, opening drawers here and there, but all the cupboards are empty. A few pieces of clothing lie scattered on the floor. At first, you're not quite sure if they belong to a man or a woman. Shirts are plain, but appear to be tightly fitted. Then you discover a bra. Interesting. You look around. Look at the wall more closely. Enter the bathroom. Take some of the pieces of paper and get out of there. We're going to look at the wall more closely. Photos of well-known buildings have been pasted onto the map. A skull and crossbones scribbled over the area you recognize as the town center. Strange. Isn't that a tourist spot? A few more skulls have been scribbled on apartment buildings in intermittent intervals. In the harbor area where the village church is located, the word cult is written. The ILS has been circled vigorously with a black pen. 2 exclamation marks have been scratched in the map right next to it. Your gaze wanders across the map and the photos that have been pinned all over the map and the surrounding wallpaper. Your stomach cramps up when you suddenly see Delilah Marsh's icy smile looking down on you from one of the newspaper clippings. Annoyingly, the text is missing. You would have liked to know why her picture was in the newspaper. Looks like all the corresponding newspaper has already been discarded. There's no other useful clue. Just trash and bits of paper. Damn it. Truly irresponsible, these people who think that no one ever gets to see their paranoia walls. Let's enter the bathroom. You knock on the door, announcing yourself loudly. No one seems to be in. Lucky. Hard to say what would have been more awkward to acknowledge your presence or the utter mess all around. You flip the light switch, guided only by the shine of a flickering light bulb. You step into the bathroom. There is cold and wet. The bathtub is filled to the brim with water, and there are cosmetic products scattered all over the sink. What now? Let's inspect the bathtub. Doesn't look like anyone actually took a bath, though. The water is clean and clear. A bottle of shampoo and shower gel stand ready on a little stool next to the bathtub. Their caps are still shut, though. You duck it into the water. It's ice cold. The dirt and the takeaway boxes were a first indication, but now there's no doubt in your mind. Whoever stayed here, no, lived here, had to leave the room very quickly indeed. There are lots of cosmetic products scattered around the sink. There are definitely more than you brought with you. Someone was expecting to stick around for longer. Leave the bathroom. There's still so much to do and time is running out for you. You leave the bathroom and wonder where else you can keep looking for clues. You grab one of the many pieces of papers lying on the sideboard. Carefully unfold the scrunch up paper so that the piece doesn't rip and you can still read the writing. A Polaroid picture falls out. It must have been stashed here in between the pages. You pick it up and you're not really sure what you're expecting, but you weren't expecting that. It's Tabitha Marsh. It's not simply Tabitha Marsh. It's the exact same photo that you have in your possession. Hastily, you fish out your coat pocket. You place two pictures next to one another, and indeed both pictures are identical. How is that even possible with Polaroid pictures? On the back of the photo, Dahlia's address has been noted down in spindly handwriting. Whoever drove that van must have also been looking for Tabitha. You wonder if this was your predecessor. A private investigator was thrown in the towel. He almost forgot about the piece out of paper from which the Polaroid had fallen. You recognize the handwriting. It's the same that had noted down the address. Thanks for an incredible night. We must repeat it. Dahlia's handwriting. You sit down on the bed. Your eyes still on the note. Your detective instinct is kicking in. Usually, it's just lying around in the corner of your subconscious all day, mostly hungover, but it's wide awake now. If Dahlia hired this detective before you, it could only have been a few days ago. Tabitha must have been missing only for a day or two, and her mother flirts with the first investigator she meets. She made eyes at you too, your subconscious tells you. Obviously, you didn't make as good an impression on her as your predecessor did. You look around. We're going to get out of here. Enough. You've seen plenty. With deliberately careful steps, you maneuver the obstacle course of bits of paper, clothes, and scrunched up aluminum balls and leave the room. You pocket the key. You can always have a think later about what you're going to do with it. After two more confusing turns and giant mirrors, you reach room 666. Finally. You're going to drop your stuff off and take a nap. Good plan. Of course, the door resists being opened. You jerk the key back and forth in the lock until you hear a satisfying click around. A soothing warmth hits you as you enter the room. Immediately, the synapses in your brain switch to energy-saving mode. The trip to INNSMOUTH has probably taken more out of you more than you had thought. You don't even notice the rest of the room. The side of the bed makes you yearn for a little shut-eye. That's right, you're supposed to do something else. A little girl needs to be found, and the reward for it needs to be paid into your bank account. It's only when you march to the closet that you realize you have nothing to unpack. After your briefcase mysteriously disappeared, all you have is a very basic survival kit. A toothbrush, travel bottles of various care products that you stuffed into your coat pockets in a rush. You go into the bathroom, position your treasures onto the sink. A handful of ice-cold water is enough to refresh you. Good thing you didn't go straight to bed. Who knows, you might have never woken up again. Now that you feel more refreshed, you leave the bathroom and survey your tiny kingdom. Your place is furnished only with bare necessities. Your bed is flanked by a chest of drawers. At the window, there's a desk with curved ornaments, and next to the bathroom door, there's a huge, massive dark wardrobe which extends all the way up to the ceiling. The yellowing floral wallpaper is slowly detaching itself from the walls in some places, and on the wall you can see a range of paintings with elaborately decorated frames. What do you do now? We're going to examine the pictures more closely. Since this room has not been equipped with a television, you're left with art as your only entertainment. The first picture shows a ship in a choppy sea. The motif looks familiar but pretty. The impressive fight of a small ship against the huge forces of nature. Half hidden in the background, you see a small spot of light. You have to squint and walk up even closer to make out a lighthouse. Even some elements of town are visible. Could this be INNSMOUTH? You turn to the next picture and immediately take an involuntary step back. You're looking at a grouchy, weather-beaten man, the embodiment of a sailor, complete with a captain's cap, a full gray beard, and a thick black coat collar. The painter of this work opted for a frontal perspective rather than a more advantageous side angle. His head slightly raised, the man's piercing gaze seemed to be fixed on something in the far distance. A small spark of light dawns on his sinister eyes. Odd choice for the hotel room decor. The third and last picture hangs on the adjacent wall. An idyllic view of the beach on a quiet day. A pair of lovers with their backs turned to the viewer. He's wearing a white shirt. She's wearing a yellow dress. The two of them are in an embrace on a sand dune and look towards the horizon. The image fills you with a profound sense of calm. We're gonna open the window. After a day out and about investigating, you have no desire to return to this stuffy room tonight. At least open a window to let some fresh air into the room. The window lock is unnecessarily complicated crank that you turn around aimlessly for a while until you understand how the mechanism works. We're going to leave the room. You are now reasonably refreshed again and ready to face the town. Armed with only your wallet, your mobile phone, and a photo of a little girl, you step out into the corridor and lock the room door. Turn right at the first fork, then left again. Right? Anxious to get out, you suddenly find yourself at a dead end. After trying a few other left-right combinations, you finally find the golden sign on a wall which shows you the way to the stairs. As you walk down the circling stairs, you look at the reception on the first floor. The eerie, almost mechanical smile of the concierge greets you, as if he has nothing better to do than watch your every move. You arrive downstairs, you decide to talk to the concierge again. Nothing much has changed at the reception. A voice emerges from behind the concierge, clenched teeth. Hope you're satisfied with your room. Perfect. I want to die here. The concierge puts his greenish hand on his heart. I'm so happy when guests say this. Just get out of here. Time to go and look for Tabitha. Your investigations lead you to the harbor. INNSMOUTH Harbor is signposted much better than the local hospital. If you wonder if a hospital is even needed here, it's a half-hour walk. A mile-long carpet of cobblestone is now ahead of you. The traffic in Boston is much more hectic, but at least they have heard of asphalt before. You keep walking. There are fewer and fewer residential buildings along the path. In their stead are now warehouses that must be fish markets due to the smell. You can also hear the occasional metallic clanking from nearby workshops. People in gray raincoats are walking towards you. They're probably fishermen who have some errands to run. Now and again, in the split second when you pass one another, you catch a glimpse of the faces hidden under the hoods. Puffy eyes that look at you suspiciously. Although there are a few clouds in the sky, there's no chance of rain as far as you can tell. Or are they all wrapped up like that? I wonder if they have a sixth sense for approaching storms. The sound of the rhythmic blows of a hammer nearby tears you away from these thoughts. It'd be interesting to watch the work in a shipyard, but little Tabitha is unlikely to be here to play. From a distance, you already see the masts of the boats, which rise up into the sky like a row of spears. You walk along a small street at the quay with the harbor basin just behind it. The view of the harbor is splendid. Boats of all shapes and sizes are coming and going. Nets are being emptied out and fish seem to be endlessly splashing into huge freezer boxes. Local trades are being sealed with handshakes, and at the end of the wide headland, a huge lighthouse watches majestically over the bay. The ideal postcard motif if it weren't for the people. You only know fishermen from the movies, and you have to admit you have a certain prejudices these include. They have weather-beaten skin, and the captains always have well-groomed beards. They are either strong, silent types or hard-drinking lads who sing filthy sea shanties. But these creatures in front of you are neither majestic nor Larry. They move around more like tragic hunchbacks you see in French cathedrals. A few yards to the right, there's a fork of the road, and a road sign pointed further north. Its inscription reads INNSMOUTH Paradise Beach. In the far distance, you can see a building that looks like a church. Hang on. A church. On the coast. How eccentric. We're going to go to the beach. The beach. The screeching seagulls, an endless white, well, brown, okay, gray beach, and the sound of waves. Clean, well, potentially clean water. The algae are way too dense to really tell. You walk on the sand and move a little closer to the waterline, curious about what you might discover there. Although the sea is not stormy and the tide is low, INNSMOUTH Beach is not really a touristy place. Everything is simply too gray. This is what you associate with a real vacation. Television. Holiday schmoliday. The best thing about staying in a hotel room is that you never have to clean up. You can gorge on loads of fast food laid out around you on the couch and watch whatever weird TV programs are on in that particular country. Exotic. Lost in thought, you keep wandering over the dunes. You notice how all the colors of the sea and the beach seem to be swallowed up by the strangely late conditions here. You hold your hand up in front of your face. Your skin looks gray and matte. But still, you feel relaxed. The murmur of the sea invigorates you. You feel a deep sense of longing within you. A serene sense of inner peace and freedom until the techno music starts. A monotonous beat, the sound seems to come directly from the beach bar a few hundred yards off in the distance, which appears to be surrounded by a dozen people. Given the changing weather, it's perhaps no surprise. What else is one supposed to do on this beach apart from drink cheap cocktails and dance to bad music? Something strange grabs your attention. A kind of cage standing in the shallow water, perhaps 12 feet wide and deep. Walk to the cage. Thanks to the low tide, you're able to get close to the strange object. The seas retreated into the distance, and so the cage stands there, looking strangely lost. As you approach it, you take off your shoes and socks and turn your trouser legs up a little. Finally, you stand in front of the cage. There's a visible line in the cage about 3 feet from the ground. The metal on the top half still looks quite stable. The bottom half must normally be submerged in water. Slimy black algae winds around the metal rods. What's strange here is the position of the cage. Very strange. The dunes are not far away. On your way, you notice that this part of the beach that usually remains untouched by the water. So even the high tide doesn't get to it. You must have only walked 50 yards. Even if the tide comes in, you think that the cage would never actually be completely submerged in water. But isn't that the point of these things? You start thinking about lobster cages. And then shark cages. That's all you find here. You linger for a bit, and then you walk back to the sandy part of the beach. The cries of the seagulls are increasingly drowned out by the early 90s techno beats. One note, that's all some people need to enjoy themselves. One note in an endless loop. The owner of the beach bar is taking great pains to make up for some of INNSMOUTH's deficits. The bar is made from wooden planks and features a nice countertop and exotic canopy made from palm trees. Admittedly, the palm trees are no longer green. They're gray and dried out, just as if a demon had sucked the life force out of them. But it's easy to imagine that all this must have looked quite pretty once. The bar is flanked by wooden bar stools, and a few meters away towards the ocean, 2 rows of deck chairs have been put up so that people can get drunk there lying down. From a distance, the bar looks busy, but now, as you arrive, you realize the party is already over. It never did take place. A dozen people hang out. A few surfer dudes stagger out about like zombies. Some of them carrying empty cocktail glasses around. Some of them yell "party" and "woohoo" enthusiastically. Precisely. This kind of people. A guy with long hair and sunglasses nods his head in time to the techno beat and taps along on the bar counter with his flat hand. There's no bar staff in sight. One of the tourist families you had spotted on the way here is spread out on the deck chairs. They're evidently trying to keep away from the party. You look around. We're going to take up one of the deck chairs. It can't hurt you just to rest for a moment. It means you'll be able to resume your mission full of energy or whatever.
Most of the chairs are free. All offer excellent views of the sea and the increasingly cloudy horizon. You're spoilt for choice. Of course, you're going somewhere more private. Stay away from it all. You decided on the deck chair that's the furthest away from the beach bar and its visitors, yet you're not alone. It's a family you've already noticed a few times today. Happily chatting parents are constantly eating, and their two chronically bad-tempered children. The four are hard to miss with their loud chatter and tasteless tourist outfits. They settle down on the deck chairs, sipping on some soft drinks. Not too shabby, the dark clouds drawing together on the horizon worry you a little, but they're far away enough for you to simply enjoy this moment, not on a beach. Technically, you have been near a beach the whole time, but you couldn't really switch off. There's a daunting sense of danger, a feeling of paranoia they simply couldn't shake off. Luckily, the paranoia was now gone. A cool sea breeze caresses your face as you tune out of the tourists' annoying conversations. You listen to the murmur of the waves. The regular to and fro of the sea has a soothing effect on you. Your eyes fall shut. It's cold. You're freezing, which is annoying. Because you had settled down quite comfortably on one of the deck chairs. You could swear you noticed a shadow while you're half asleep. There was a figure who tried to grab you and carry you away. Was that all a dream? A chilly wind blows on your face. Oh, damn it. This case is going to be the death of you. You simply lie there as if dead. Your attempts to return to a more comfortable position are punished by a stabbing pain in your behind. Some bit from the chair is digging into you. Probably a cheap model. Damn tight asses, you mutter weakly and push yourself into an upright position. The sun is now set and all other holiday makers are gone. Instead of freezing their asses off, they're probably sitting in a warm hotel by now. The moon illuminates the beach and the waves shimmer in its eerie green glow. Green. Nature is fascinating. You stretch your tense neck while you notice some lights off in the distance. Night has fallen, and with each passing minute, it seems to get chillier. The light appears to be moving and are leading away from town. You wonder whether you should take a closer look at the spectacle or go to your warm hotel. We're going to go along the beach towards the lights. Why not? The day is almost over, and anyway, maybe you can at least manage to figure out what the lights in the distance are all about. You trudge through the sand, then you notice the lights you were heading towards are moving. They do not stand still, but twitch back and forth. Hang on a moment. You're on a beach. It's night. Weird blinking lights. This is clearly a UFO sect. These nerds are probably making crop circles in the sand circles, so to speak. What might the lights mean? Are these idiots trying to use some kind of Morse code to attract the attention of flying saucers? You've arrived. Somewhat indecisively, you stand on a sand dune and take in the spectacle. There are 20, maybe 30 people who have gathered here on the beach close to the waves. You can see that they are naked under the rags and nets that they're wearing on their bodies. Well, this just got spicy. They are performing a sensual and seemingly uncontrollable dance while waving glow sticks in the air. The masks that people are wearing seem familiar, but from film and television. Distorted faces with angry mouths and ugly goggle eyes. Reminds you a little of voodoo, but here on the coast of New England? You're not quite sure anymore whether you're at a rave party or an actual exotic fertility ritual. The acoustics are bad. Instead of the clear techno beat, the people are relying on singing. They could do with rehearsing, though. Without any sense of rhythm, the people are chanting the same refrain over and over again. Iya, iya, Cthulhu, Fatagan. You make yourself comfortable in the cool sand of the dune. A good decision. You have a perfect view of the dancers. A bizarre spectacle, all in all. Exotic. You didn't think that a dump like INNSMOUTH would put on performances like these. The men and women stretch their bodies into impossible shapes and keep singing their admittedly somewhat monotonous song. For minutes on end, they run around in circles in the sand. The ground is marked with glowing green spray paint. People keep brushing against each other. Some of them are really going for it and have started licking each other. Okay. That means you join in. The whole point of holidays is doing crazy things you normally wouldn't. And besides, nobody here knows you. You sneak up to the group of dancers and attempt to seamlessly blend into the chaotic spectacle. You're lucky. In the midst of the rags that most people are wearing here, your detective outfit doesn't particularly stand out. You're just another freak among many. You get swept up in the ecstasy of the dance. Your thighs trembling, your arms wriggle about. You throw back your head and join in the chanting. Yeah, sully frogs, you enthusiastically imitate the chant. A few glow sticks have been dropped during the dance and lie about abandoned in the sand. When you bend down to pick one of them up, you realize they're not disposable glow sticks at all. They're algae. Glowing algae? You keep dancing cheerfully. Past a bizarre mask with swollen eyes, which up close look much more threatening, a bit scary. From a distance, this horror part of the show would have completely escaped you. The party seems to be shifting on to the next phase. The dancers have now stopped their ecstatic movements and stand still with their outstretched arms facing the ocean. Silence. Complete silence apart from the monotonous murmur of the waves. Then you can make out another sound. A strange hissing. Another group of amateur actors join the dancers. They come straight from the water and wear costumes more suitable for Halloween than a rave party. Greenish scales cover up their costumes, or is it professional makeup? The scaly skinned costumes look super real. The muscular, clumsy, and much too long arms end in a set of lifelike claws. The heads are a mixture of dumb-looking fish and a deadly grizzly. Whoever comes up with this mask seriously needs to see a therapist. When the first masked creature reaches the group of dancers, you realize that these guys must have seriously trained for this gig. All of them have bodies you can only get through years of hard physical training and guzzling down loads of steroids. They're also stark naked. You tilt your head involuntarily. Some bodies are quite difficult to replicate, even with paper mache or plastic mold. You know this from your own Halloween craft endeavors. It's even more difficult to make these things move and react authentically. It takes a lot of willpower to tear your eyes away from the sight. The dance group seems to welcome the newcomers warmly. They mingle. Each of the costume giants seems to know exactly with whom they want to spend the evening. It does not take long, and every party guest is paired up with one of these fish creatures. You stand a little off to the side and watch as they explore each other's bodies, and they start to... Whoa, okay. This party's definitely X-rated. A brave choice for a tourist entertainment program. While you're still gasping for air indignantly, the couples are already rolling in the sand and groaning with pleasure. This took a turn that I was not expecting. Only one of the costume giants has not yet found a partner. His milk eyes fall on you. Uh-oh. Stalks over to you on his long legs. With one of his claws, he points at you, then at himself. No, thank you. You say quickly, holding your hands defensively. Somehow the guy manages to wrinkle his chunky forehead. Unbelievable how lifelike the mask looks, and you think to yourself again. Then his body jerks forward. On his stilt legs, he stands tall and proud in front of you, and to tighten his fists as far as his claws will allow it. toothed mouth opening of the fish mask emits a soft hiss. Run. You do what you're best at. Create chaos. In one flowing movement, you squat down slightly, grab a piece of sand, and throw it in the monster's face. The eyes of the strangers seem to not be well that protected from the Popeye mask. At least that's how you interpret the scream while running away from the creature. Was this a sex cult? Did you misbehave in any way? Will you regret your decision? All of these questions you can ask yourself later while having a hot shower. But for now, best to get away from here. Without looking back, you continue to run. Faint lights of the town firmly in view. A great veil covers the town. The light of the sun drains away, and with it, the residual heat. Although INNSMOUTH is a boring coastal town and probably doesn't have any street gangs, you feel relieved when you see the gables of the Gilman Hotel. On your way here, you distinctly felt as if someone or something was following you. You could swear there were shadows. They were only visible for a fraction of a second. Whenever you entered an alley, these fleeting shadows, they're still there lurking somewhere in the dark. You feel it in your gut. You'll soon be safe. The growing paranoia, a constant glance over your shoulder, soon you can forget all about that. Grabbing a bottle of Jack is the only movement required once you get into your hotel room. The parking lot in front of you is completely empty. Have all the guests left? Does INNSMOUTH even have a peak tourist season? Fortunately, the gate is not locked. In fact, everything seems to be just as it did this afternoon when you left the hotel. Not a soul around. The chandeliers light your way to the foyer, and the creaking floorboards welcome you. As you enter the foyer, you can hardly believe your eyes. Who's waiting for you in the reception? None other than Cornelius Gilman III, and you could swear he's in exactly the same pose in which you left him. He stands motionless at the reception desk. Walk up the stairs to your room. You walk up the stairs to your floor, then you stroll along the long corridor until you reach the fork with a deceptive mirror. You briefly consider your appearance. You look quite exhausted. Probably like anyone who spends their holiday in a town like INNSMOUTH. Are you imagining things, or do your eyes seem a little puffy today? All the more reason to go to your room. You venture deeper into the bizarre labyrinth of this hotel floor. You manage to find your room and you only get lost once along the way. You quickly open the door and enter. Well. It's barely necessary to switch on the light. You walk towards one of the windows and look into the starry sky. A huge, strangely green glowing moon illuminates your room with like a spotlight. The whole room is plunged into surreal glow. Unfortunately, there are no window blinds to block the light. We're going to go to bed. You drop onto the bed like someone who has no intentions of getting up ever again. Changing clothes after a long day out before going to bed is for suckers, and for people with basic sense of hygiene. That's not who you are. You're oddly pleased about it. These thoughts in mind, you doze off for a bit. You transition fluidly into your dreams. You've only just closed your eyes and you're already somewhere else. Suddenly, your worries are very different. You're running in a desolate gray maze of winding alleys. You hear the cheerful laughter of a small child. If only you could catch up, you could save the child and take them home safely. You sprint down the path and turn around a corner and then around another. The alleyway stretches out in front of you, but there's no person to be seen anywhere. What was that? Was that a shadow in the corner of the street back there? The silhouette of a figure? You realize that someone is following you. Look over your shoulder. You cast a hasty glance over your shoulder, and then you see them out of the corner of your eye. Shadows. But they have repugnant bodies. You can't really put it any differently. You catch glimpses of oily skin, swollen boils, and even tentacles. But nothing stays in one place, and everything seems to be constantly moving around. A body in metamorphosis. Patches of skin tear open and close again with an awful smacking sound. You briefly catch a glimpse of the thing that has fallen you silently. You know that you've already seen more than you should have. That short glance was more than enough. No human can stand looking at this creature without completely losing their mind. It's right behind you. The figure in the distance has already disappeared behind the next corner. Maybe you can still catch up with it. The alleys wind through the town in confusing ways. Nothing makes sense anymore. Whenever you move, you arrive at the place you expected to. It feels as if, slowly but surely, you're walking right into the jaws of a massive monster. All of a sudden, the walls close in on you, and the path becomes so narrow that you have to walk sideways in order to fit through. Whatever's behind you is getting closer. There's not much time left. We're going to face the creature. There's no point in following the endless labyrinth forever. With bated breath, you turn around and look down the street and you just came from in order to face whatever it is pursuing you. No matter how hard you try, your eyes refuse to look directly at it. The tentacled meatball right in front of you seems to be only a small growth of a much larger but also shapeless and impossible creature that is following you. You begin to despair. You look at it directly. It wasn't so bad after all, you thought when you opened your eyes. Panting, you wake up. In one panic moment, you throw the blankets off the bed. What a nightmare. At least it's over now. Your room is still plunged into the greenish light from the moon. It's still the middle of the night. You approach the window. Even from a distance, the light of the moon blinds you. Everything is bathed in an unreal green shimmer. The stately houses across the hotel, the neglected, wildly growing hedges on the sidewalk, the mob armed with torches looking up into your room. The what? They're staring up at you. It's hard to tell who those hooded people are without wanting to be prejudiced. You assume that they are the good citizens of INNSMOUTH. Some of the figures point up with their torches to your room on the higher floor. Then they jump towards the hotel. They limp towards the hotel entrance. You briefly wonder if these kind people might know anything about missing children. You barricade the door. They might come to your room at this time of night, and you're a good girl. A blockade should buy you some time. It's almost as if the panic gives you superhuman strength. Without losing much time, you pile up cupboards and wedge them together to build a strong defense. Someone slips a key into the lock of your room from the outside. Your inside's cramped. How is it possible the strangers have access to your room? But your grudges against Mr. Gilman must wait. You have no worries right now. You have other worries right now. The doorknob jerks. Someone pushes against the door, but is stopped by your furniture barricade. A few inches, that's as far as the strangers get. Finally, the angry voice outside speaks, okay, does anybody here not have mutated hands? Silence. Spellbound, you listen, but all you can hear is the beating of your own heart. Damn it, growls the stranger. People start to complain and accuse each other. People seem to be walking up and down, but eventually they move away from your room. It sounds as if doors in other rooms are being opened. Slowly, you sink into the carpet. You didn't notice it before, but you're now bathed in sweat. When you no longer hear footsteps or shouts from the outside, you stagger back to your bed. Although you're not 100% sure whether you're safe, sleep tempts you. It's just after midnight. Your eyes are tired. Was this the only horde of armed lunatics on the road at that time? You spend the rest of your night comfortably cuddled into bed. Bed is too warm and comfy for such unimportant things as staying alive to keep you from snuggling back into it. Relieved about your decision, you scurry under the blanket and lay your head on the pillow. You spend the night in a deep, dreamless sleep. Then it's dawn. In a haze, you wake up, walk into the bathroom and change. Your face in the mirror above the sink looks like it's aged by many years. You walk through the corridors and down the stairs to the foyer. You give Mr. Gilman the key. I hope you had a pleasant night in your hotel. Very nice of you to bring back the key. Would you be so kind as to fill out our questionnaire? With a stiff smile, he hands you a sheet of paper and pen. You rip up the paper. With an icy smile, you tear the paper and push the shredded piece bits back over the counter. Mr. Gilman doesn't react. He just keeps smiling. That felt good. You'd love to ask Mr. Gilman questions about everything that went down last night, but an instinct that usually prefers to sleep advises you to get out of here while you can. None of the holiday makers that you met around town yesterday are anywhere to be seen on your way back, but sleeping in INNSMOUTH or Boston is already waiting for you. It seems to be just waiting for you and a handful of the disfigured villagers. Not a single tourist is amongst the travelers. They're probably much smarter than you and all arrived by car. When the old bus starts to move, you decided to stop thinking about it. Months later, Boston, 13th of November. You jerk awake, only the pale moonlight seeps through the blinds of your apartment. It seems to be very late in the night, and you're all soaked in sweat, as per usual. You sit up on the edge of the bed and try to calm down. You're safe, you're at home. You've managed to put an end to their schemes, the kidnappings and all the lies. You've escaped, or you're still under the spell of INNSMOUTH. A bad feeling. You return to Boston. You did everything you could. Well, that took a certain twist, didn't it? We almost died like twice, and we're almost cardinally violated by a giant fish mutant. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for hanging out, and I hope you enjoyed it. And go ahead and hit that subscribe and like button, and I'll see everybody on the next video.
Hey everybody, Tabitha6 here signing off. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you want to see more, click the videos that are listed or hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications in order to be notified when I've got more posted. Until then, as always, be good, be kind, be safe. See you next time.